a legendary Las Vegas steakhouse just opened in New York City. Home of the self-proclaimed best steaks on earth, the original was a well-known hangout for the iconic Rat Pack that included Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. Recreating the magic of a restaurant with that much history is no easy task. I mean, we literally sat in Joe DiMaggio's booth. Today, we're trying Golden Steer at 1/5.
It's been nearly 2 years since we went to the original Golden Steer in Las Vegas, but it feels like forever ago. We watched back our original video to prepare for this one, and honestly, it was pretty tough to watch. If you've been around for that long, first of all, thanks for sticking with us. And second of all, hopefully we've improved a little along the way. We've definitely learned a lot. And we've had quite a few amazing dining experiences in the past 2 years, including a lot of steakhouses. So I'm curious to see how the new Golden Steer stacks up.
The history of the Golden Steer is somewhat disputed. According to their website, they opened in 1958 and are the oldest steakhouse in Las Vegas. But based on public record, they actually opened in 1962, and the oldest Vegas steakhouse still operating is Bob Taylor's original ranch house that opened in 1955. Either way, it was still a popular spot among celebrities, with notable diners like Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, and the Rat Pack. Golden Steer at 1/5, just over a block from Washington Square Park, is the brand's first ever expansion, and they certainly chose an address with loads of its own history. 1/5 is nearly 100 years old, opening in 1927, and has been home to a number of celebrities, like Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter, Gwyneth Paltrow and Brad Pitt, Keith Richards, and recently Gracie Abrams.
Yes.
The menu is pretty similar to in Vegas, but I appreciate that they've updated the history to include some interesting information about this location. They have quite a few exclusive items, specifically the appetizers like the Braised Octopus, house-made steer sausage, and filet tartare, and all of the house specialties are unique to this location. Of course, they brought over their famous Tableside Caesar salad that is priced per person and needs to be ordered for 2 or more in order to get the tableside presentation. All of the steaks are wet-aged USDA prime, with the exception of the 50-ounce porterhouse, which is dry-aged for 35 days. They're well known for their enormous lobster tails. We had loads of comments on our previous videos saying that they actually thought the lobster was even better than the steaks. So I think we're gonna have to splurge for one of those this time. The combos come with a soup or salad and a side, and what's cool is you can actually order any of the salads or soups or sides from the menu. The drink menu features classic cocktails meant as a callback to the original tenant #1 bar that first took over the space in 1934.
To drink, I got the New York Fizz, which is bourbon, lemon juice, apricot, lavender syrup, egg white, and club soda. Ooh, has a really nice creaminess to it. I like the lavender flavor, and it's very cinnamony. Like, this feels like it would be perfect for the fall. It almost tastes like a hard cider, but like—
It looks almost like a frothy beer.
Yeah, it's like an elevated, frothy, hard cider. It's really delicious, right up my alley. When we first walked in, I couldn't help but smile ear to ear. One, because I'm so excited to be back. I love Golden Steer, but two, they nailed the decor and ambiance. They're playing Frank Sinatra, jazz music. I love the low lighting. They have these big iconic red booths. It was designed by Medelis Novus, who also designed Coat and Tatiana, and I really think they nailed it. There's so many nods to Vegas. A lot of the pictures are like poker chips or cards. It really feels like the Golden Steer in Vegas, but like shiny and new. You don't feel that history. It still has like a nice old world charm. I guess it almost feels like a replica of that that one where like you know it's not the original, but it's really close. I don't know if that makes sense, but I love it.
We just got our bread, and it looks completely different than the one in Vegas. It's got all of these seasonings on top, and I remember that one being a bit more on the doughy side, but the butter being delicious. Wow, I can actually smell the seasonings on this. This is some of the softest and smoothest butter I have ever seen. It literally looks like a small scoop of sorbet in that bowl. It's crazy. Wow, definitely better than the bread at the Vegas location, but the butter is just as good. It's got this like Italian garlic roll kind of flavor with all of those spices on top, and that butter is just so silky and smooth and creamy. I can use a lot more than one of those.
These smell absolutely delicious. They're warm and soft. The bread is sweeter than I was expecting, which is a great compliment to all these spices on the top. There's like pepper and garlic and maybe some rosemary. So good. I'm starving. To start, we ordered the octopus, but our waiter also just brought us the bone marrow. I'm afraid we've been recognized, and this thing is massive. That was so sweet and generous of them. But we're gonna start with the octopus. This has chorizo and shishito peppers. Wow, that is absolutely delicious. It is so smoky. There's a nice char on the outside that gives a little crunch. I love the spice that you get from the shishito pepper, and just that like pepper flavor in general really shines through in this dish. I also appreciate how they gave us like full pieces of octopus, but then they also like cut up these little slices, and this sauce is delicious. Definitely seems like it has a tomato base. I'm loving this dish.
Wow.
It's really good.
That's so good. That smoky, savory flavor is so incredibly strong. It's actually not as spicy as I was expecting, just like a tiny, tiny bit of spice. All of this like meaty sauce that it's in just really adds to the flavors as well. It's definitely a pretty substantial amount of octopus. It looks like it's cooked a little bit more on the well done side, like it's a little bit more charred, but it's still super tender. It's not chewy at all.
Time to try this massive bone marrow. Look at how huge this thing is. You scoop out some of the bone marrow, put it on a piece of this toasted buttery bread, and then spoon on some salsa verde. Oh, what I love about this, and I don't think I've had it like this anywhere else, is that the bone marrow is obviously so savory. You really get those like oils and that richness from it. But then this salsa verde is so earthy. You really taste the basil, the garlic, and I feel like I've never experienced like something so earthy juxtaposed with something so savory, but it works really well. And this toast, buttered to perfection, toasted to perfection, and I also love how thin it is because you really get the perfect ratio of everything in that bite.
We've had bone marrow just a few times in the past, and my issue with it has always been the same. The bone is so big, but there's never really all that much bone marrow inside, and I'm pretty sure Kristin ate like 60% of it in those 2 bites. Wow. Our waiter was just giving me the signal like, it's good, isn't it? And it is good. I honestly didn't get that much of the bone marrow to really appreciate how rich and savory it is, but that salsa verde with this bread alone is delicious. Like you said, it's so earthy, and with that savory component, amazing.
But like you said, even when we're done with the bone marrow, the bread with the salsa verde is still going to be delicious. And here comes our tableside Caesar.
So here we got some Dijon mustard already, and we're gonna start by adding some garlic. This is minced garlic. We're gonna put some anchovies, and we're gonna use 1 egg. We're just gonna use the egg yolk. That is gonna add some creaminess. We like to use a blended oil instead of 100% olive oil, because if you use that, we're gonna add some bitter flavors to it. We're gonna add some Worcestershire sauce. That is gonna add some umami and salt to it. And we're gonna put some Tabasco. Just a couple of drops. Finally, we're gonna add some red wine vinegar, a little bit, and fresh lemon juice. Perfect, and we're done with the dressing. Done. Caesar salad was created in 1924 by Cesar Cartini. He had a restaurant in Tijuana. It was a busy night, 4th of July. It was during the Prohibition era, so everybody was like crossing the border to get to the restaurant and celebrate. It was so busy, he ran out of ingredients, so he got to the kitchen, and grab whatever he had left. From my lettuce, the croutons, the eggs, the sauce. And he started making the salad like this. They was running for another guest in a wooden bowl. Getting one of them was maple salad for the
It's funny how sometimes the best things are made by accident. Wow, that looks
Thank you
delicious.
so much. We just had to go with the Tableside Caesar again because the Caesar in Vegas is probably the best Caesar salad I've ever had anywhere in the world. And also our combo meal actually came with one salad. So for $23 to add on like a second salad, we were able to get the Tableside presentation. When they do Tableside presentations, they nail it. Like it's not fluff or just show. They really are so informative. They tell you the whole story about Caesar salad, where it comes from. It comes on this adorable little like romaine lettuce plate. I don't think the one in Vegas came on a little lettuce plate.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's a Caesar salad. How much can you really say about it? But it's pretty much just the traditional classic Caesar salad perfected. You really taste that Parmesan cheese, and there's just like a little bite, not a lot of like big flavorful croutons. I feel like a lot of the Tableside Caesars really lean into like crazy croutons, like the one at Carbone. These are just your classic croutons. A little bit of like garlic in there, but nothing crazy.
I think what sets this Caesar salad apart compared to a lot of other ones I've had is just that tang. There's like a little bit of spiciness. What I love about Golden Steer is they do simple things so well.
We're gonna have our beautiful steak with our main lobster tail from Canada. It's gonna come with some butter on the side, side of lemon too. And right here we're gonna have our famous Las Vegas style twice baked potato.
That lobster tail is hands down the biggest I've seen, and that steak looks amazing. But I'm gonna start with the twice baked potato, which is made with cherry wood bacon, cheese, and green onions. I remember having this in Vegas and it was delicious, so I am very excited to have it again. It is steaming. I smell the cheese and the onion. Wow. Once again, they know how to nail a simple dish. This is basically a loaded baked potato, but done amazingly. I think what I love most about this is, you know, you don't have like a potato topped with sour cream, topped with bacon, topped with cheese, where like you don't get everything in one bite. This is like, you have all those ingredients, but it's mixed together perfectly so that it's like the perfect ratio in every bite. It's so nice and crispy on the outside. I love how it seems like they mix it all together and then like put it back in the oven. So you got this nice crust on the exterior.
I said it in Vegas, and it holds true just as much here. This is probably the best version of a loaded baked potato I've ever had anywhere. It's impossibly fluffy on the inside. The top is golden and slightly crisp. You get that savory depth from the bacon and the sweetness from the onions and all of that cheesy gooiness. And like you said, the way that they integrate it all into the potato means you don't have to worry about getting the perfect bite. Every bite is the perfect bite.
For our main, we got the Shorthorn and Lobster Tail combo. And I've really never seen a bigger lobster tail in my life. I mean, look at this thing. I can't wait to dig into that, but I think I'm gonna start with the steak. There's a nice char on the outside. It looks perfectly medium rare. That is so flavorful, and I love the nice char on top. It has a little bit of a smokiness. You could really taste like that black pepper that's seasoned with. The bottom doesn't have as much of a char.
The inside is like a perfect rosy pink. What I love about their steaks is that they always just like season them so well on the top. Like you can see this coating of pepper and garlic and everything. That is a beefy, juicy piece of steak. It does have a bit of a chew to it, but it's also an enormous piece of steak. Like these pieces that I cut off are just huge. I just had a piece from this fat cap, and it was rendered so nicely. Like I said, it does have like a bit of a chew to it, but that fat just really adds like a butteriness and extra savoriness, and it's nice and crispy along the edges. If there was like a polar opposite to a dry aged steak, I feel like this would be it. It comes in this big pool of juices, almost like a prime rib. You kind of like have to dip it in this juice, and it is just so beefy and rich and buttery with all that sauce on there. That sauce is crazy.
It's so good, it's crazy. I cannot wait to dig into this lobster. We put a little bit of lemon on top. I'm gonna dip it in this butter. That's a big piece of lobster. Okay, I'm not kidding when I say I don't think I've had a better bite of lobster in my life. It's cooked perfectly. It's got like a tenderness to it and a sweetness like I've never experienced. And then that butter just pulls out all that sweetness and that flavor. That is phenomenal. I'm at a loss for words.
They say that larger lobster tails tend to be less tender and even maybe a little bit less sweet. And this is the largest lobster tail I've ever seen in my life. So I'm curious if they made that sacrifice here just for like the showmanship of having such a large lobster. Wow, if this isn't tender and sweet, I don't know what a baby lobster would taste like, because that is incredibly tender and incredibly sweet. Funny that we started this by saying that people were saying in the comments that the lobster tails are better than the steaks at Golden Steer.
I think I strongly agree with those comments.
However they prepare this, it's just magnificent. It is so good.
We're gonna start by adding some white sugar. We can throw right away the cherry liqueur, orange zest, lemon zest, lemon juice. We have 151 grams. And we can add some fire to it. Wow. It was created for the Golden Jubilee of the Queen Victoria. She was a fan of cherries, so the chef created something to showcase the colors of the Britannic Empire at the time, and the fire representing all the power that the British Empire had at the time. And it came up with this beautiful dessert.
One thing I really appreciate is you can tell that they thought about the tableside presentations when they designed this place. All the booths face outward. There's plenty of space between the tables, and this whole restaurant just feels very big. Like even when the trolley pulls up, like there's space for people to go around, which is not the case at most New York City restaurants. Like I remember when we went to Carbone and the Caesar tableside presentation was like so far away in the middle of the room, like on top of the people next to us because it was just so crammed in there. So anyway, very much appreciate the thought that they put into designing this restaurant. But this Cherries Jubilee smells amazing, it looks delicious, it's melting very fast, so let's just dig right in. Wow. What really stands out to me is the almond flavor. I love rainbow cookies, and this kind of tastes like rainbow cookie ice cream with like a little bit of an extra cherry flavor, but the cherry almost mimics the jelly in a rainbow cookie. Wow. It's like kind of not what I was expecting, but so good.
We loved the bananas flambe at the Vegas location, so it was a really difficult decision to not get that one again. Our waiter did say it's the more popular of the two, but that they're both equally delicious. And as much as I love banana desserts, I also really love cherry desserts, so this is right up my alley. It's made with a cherry liqueur and served with house-made vanilla ice cream. Wow. You're right, it almost tastes like chocolatey.
Yeah, it's really
It's got like
neat.
a bit of like a amaretto,
Yes.
like a chocolatiness. The cherries are soft but slightly caramelized. It has like a sweet, slightly tangy flavor. Something in there that it's really hard to put my finger on, almost like a nutty chocolatiness. I guess you just have to decide whether you like bananas or cherries more. It seems like just about every single table in this entire restaurant is getting one of these two things, and for good reason. That was just as good as I remember it. I am so glad that we have our own Golden Steer here in the city now. First of all, you have to get yourself a lobster tail. Those things are crazy good. Also, like, maybe half, if not more than half of the experience at Golden Steer is about the ambiance and the service. And the service here absolutely nailed it once again, just like the Golden Steer in Vegas. Our servers, Marco and Daniel, were just incredible. I mean, there were so many people, there's way too many people to name, but they really make you feel like family. They make you feel like they're grateful that you chose their restaurant for your big night out. And that is just such a warm and fuzzy feeling. It's hard to not like a restaurant that makes you feel that way. And it's almost like I just want to come back just to see them again. So thank you to all of them. But if you've ever been to Golden Steer in Vegas or in New York, we would love to know what you think of it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.